Well, you don't, think about the diplomacy.
This is a grave loss to Indonesia. This is also a grave loss to all of us, to the United Nations, to this Council, and to every community that looks to peacekeepers as symbols of hope and peace. Indonesia condemns in the strongest terms these heinous attacks against those peacekeepers serving with the UNIFIL on the 29th and 30th of March 2026. Indonesia urges all relevant actors to ensure the prompt, safe, and dignified repatriation of the remains of the 3 deceased personnel and request the best possible medical treatment and comprehensive care for the 5 injured peacekeepers to ensure their full and swift recovery. Madam President, some detractors have argued that the fallen soldiers were positioned in a zone of active war. But this framing overlooks a fundamental question: who is responsible for creating and sustaining that zone of active hostilities? The current escalation did not arise in vacuum. It stems from repeated incursions by the Israeli military into the territory of Lebanon. Indonesia strongly condemns Israeli attacks in southern Lebanon, which constitute a serious violation against the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Lebanon. Indonesia continues to stand in solidarity with the government and the people of Lebanon. We demand the Security Council to keep abreast of the investigation and to immediately follow up the results. We demand that the perpetrators must be held legally accountable. Immunity must not become the standard, and attacks against peacekeepers must not be repeated nor tolerated. We also demand a firm guarantee from all parties involved, including Israel, to uphold their obligations under international law, to immediately cease attacks and aggressive behavior that endanger UN personnel and property, and to refrain from any action that further escalates the hostilities.
Statements, even today, important ones, but it's not enough. Action. Lebanon committed to disarm Hizbullah south of the Litani River. It committed to deploy its own forces in that area. It has done neither. And I listened carefully also to my colleague from France. You mentioned Iran. But when it comes to Israel, you condemn, you demand action. But when Iran openly defies Lebanon's sovereign decision to expel the Iranian ambassador, all their responses are very measured, very diplomatic, very polite. When it comes to Israel, you don't, think about the diplomacy. So I ask, how come you took a decision to expel the ambassador last week? To expel the Iranian ambassador. The deadline has passed. As we speak, he is still in Beirut. The guest is no longer acting like a guest. He's acting like he owns the house. Can you imagine that you will get a request from a hosting country? You were all serving in many countries. You will be asked to move out. And you will tell the host country, no, I'm not leaving. I have different orders from my capital, from Tehran, and I'm staying now. How can it happen? At the same time, Hizbullah ministers remain part of the government, and attacks continue to be launched from areas the Lebanese army says it controls, including south of the Litani River. The gap between words and reality is a problem. Lebanon has not taken sufficient action to address Hezbollah's military presence. Lebanon needs to take real action. Until that happens, no one is safe. No one. Not in northern Israel, not in Lebanon, not in UNIFIL bases. We are paying a heavy price. Last night, 4 Israeli soldiers fell in southern Lebanon. We remember them, we honor them. Israel will not accept attacks against its citizens, and we will take the necessary measures to defend them in accordance with the international law. Let me be clear. We have no desire, and I'm telling to my colleague from Lebanon, we have no desire to remain or operate in Lebanon.
Download Tribun X sekarang, menghadirkan lokal menjadi Indonesia.